Yo guys, well please like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Hope you enjoyed. Today we reacting to My Psycho Dad Did It With Me and My Best Friend, My Story Animated. Now I know what you're thinking. Aiden, you're a weirdo, you're a creep. Why are you reacting to all these things? Well, I don't know what to react to when I just typed in. Literally, that's why all my videos recently are from My Story Animated type things, from story animated type stuff. I literally looked up animated stories and I looked to see which one would be the most interesting for you guys to watch. Because me, I want to enjoy it. I want you to enjoy it. But I also want myself to enjoy it, if you see what I'm saying. And I saw this and I'm like, by the way, there's a lot of ones that are talking about their dads or their cousin doing it with them. The one was my mom got me and my cousin pregnant. My cousin got me and my mom pregnant. And I was like, it's kind of weird. And then I saw this one. I was like, you know what? I'll do this one. So let's get into it.
Hello there, everyone. My name is Cora, and I'm 14 years old.
Like I said, you see I'm struggling to find videos. That's why I literally put My Story Animated. By the way, sorry, I should have said this in the other video, but I forgot. But the guy who told me to react to the Kid Lori, that one song, I don't know if you saw it, my comment, but I told I don't know if you saw it, but I already the song I already saw it. The Kid Lori song by YoungBoy, yeah, I already saw that song. At first I was like, you know what, okay, why not react to it? He wants me to, okay. This guy's cool, he's been subscribed for me for like, a few days now. He seems like he's a really cool guy or girl, whatever gender he is, or she, whatever gender he or she is. He or she seems like a cool person. So I'm like, okay. And I look up the song, and then I'm like, I'm like, dang, I'm sorry. And I was like, dang, I was like, okay, let me see. I was like, I feel like I've heard that song before. Not heard it, but like I've heard the name. So I go look it up, and I see, and I can already tell by the thumbnail. I'm like, that. And I was like, dang, I'm sorry, bro. I already saw the song. I don't know if you saw the comment, but I told you that I already saw it. That's my bad. And I will be right back. Never mind, I'm just gonna finish this video real quick.
Something absolutely insane happened to me and my best friend, and by my father of all people. I'll give you a bit of insight into my father's
Yo, what is
life
up with that same
so you
cat
can
and the same
understand how it
chair and
got
the
to
same
this point in the first place.
man?
When my father was a child, he didn't have the best childhood. His parents were nightmares, from what I've heard about them. It was as if they never actually wanted a child, but still decided to keep my dad because it was too inconvenient to give him up. They never told him they loved him or were proud of the things he did.
Look at
He
that
had the
ugly man.
philosophy that children should be
I
seen
feel so
and not
cool
heard,
because I have a nice
so he
bald
never was
head
able
with some
to
hair
have a
on the
healthy
side.
relationship or even a conversation with his parents.
You bum, I bet
don't
your
believe
neck
they
is like
even
this.
took him to basic doctor appointments for checkups or vaccinations, which says a lot more about their character than anything. I'm pretty sure this stunted his emotional and mental development most of his life, since they never nurtured him properly as he grew.
Yeah.
These shortcomings also caused him to be a major target at school. His old
Dang.
clothes that he wore, with almost the same outfit every other day, attracted bullies to him like flies to honey. They pushed him around, left bruises on his arms, and stole his belongings. His parents never cared.
I'm telling you, for all the people who ever think about trying that go to my school, if y'all ever see this and y'all ever think about trying to jump me, just know this. I'm putting up a fight. And I don't care what I gotta do. Kick, slam, punch, bite. Oh, I will bite if I have to. If I'm putting into that situation, come on, let's all be honest here. If you're put into that situation where you can't swing and you can't kick, you're gonna bite. You're gonna headbutt. You're gonna do something. Ooh, I want to try headbutting someone now. That's gonna hurt, but guess what? It's gonna hurt more for them than it's gonna hurt for me. I mean, of course, it's gonna hurt, for me too. But it all depends on how bad you do it. It's gonna hurt more for them though. So it's a win-win situation. Well, win-loss, win-win situation for me.
Cared enough to ask what happened, and didn't listen to him when he tried to tell them he was having a hard time. He was a man. He was supposed to toughen up. It got to the point where it was so unbearable at home that he wound up staying with his grandmother. His grandmother was, in contrast, a lovely
most of the kids like this end up joining gangs and selling drugs.
woman. She always made sure he was fed and would sit on her love seat and let him talk to her about his problems. She never judged
Most of
him
these
if
kids
he
that are
cried
treated
or
like that are the
complained,
ones who are
and
in
for a
gangs
while,
and
it
selling
must have
drugs,
been a big
or at least
relief
just
on him.
selling drugs, or just in a
Sadly,
gang.
it didn't
It's
last
one of
long,
them.
as she had been quite old and frail at the time. A bad case of pneumonia took her life shortly after, and he was left without that loving relationship. It's hard for me to think of all of this and not feel pity for him, even after what he did. He's a product of his environment. My dad did have one saving grace in his life, and that was his good friend Mark. Mark was always there to pick him back up on his feet when life knocked him down. He would let my dad stay at his house on the weekends to get away, and he packed extra food in his lunch on the days his parents forgot to. They had been tight
Yeah,
ever since middle
forgot.
school, almost like they were brothers. He wasn't tough enough to push back the bullies, but he was always there for him afterwards and to cheer him up. They were the best of friends until the age of 17, when tragedy struck.
He had to
Mark had
move.
been driving home from a
He
part-time
died.
job when a large dog ran into the road. He had instinctively swerved to avoid the dog and crashed straight into a tree. He died upon impact, and my father had just as quickly
That's a trade. That's a
crashed
trade.
straight into a tree. He died upon impact,
Okay.
and my father had just as quickly lost his one and only friend in life.
See, animals really be doing that dumb stuff, and I swear to you, it's like they like dying. But most people, when they see an animal, they're swerving like, that's not gonna be me. I don't care if it's a puppy, okay? If it's a puppy, I'm just gonna press the brakes. If it's a dog, I'm gonna press the brakes. Whatever animal it is, I'm going to press my brakes. If you think that I'm going to swerve and risk my life for an animal, a deer, a goose, no, you're just gonna have to get hit with this car because I'm not trying to risk my life. So I'm gonna press my brakes and hopefully you don't get hit. If you get hit, that's your fault. And I'm definitely not gonna do it with when I have my kids. If I have my kids in the car, oh yeah, you got me messed up. You're just gonna have to get ran over. I do not care. You're just gonna have to get ran over. If I have my kids in the car and I'm driving, yeah, you're gonna get ran over. Unless you are a moose or a bear or something that is large, then I'm swerving. Because if I run into you, my car is just gonna get broken. And you're probably gonna break my window and kill me or someone else. And a moose? No. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do, I'm gonna swerve on that one. Actually, I'm gonna press my brakes and like try to swerve to the side. But, yeah, that's
It just
about it.
seemed that the universe kept dishing out hardship after hardship for him. He met my mother, Julia, when he was 19. He was freshly moved out of his parents' home and working full-time to support himself. Julia was a sweet woman he met on the bus in the city one day. There were no other empty seats when she got on at her stop, and they wound up sitting together and chatting. They apparently hit it off so well that he had convinced her to give him her address so he could swing by to take her out sometime.
Okay.
After their first date together, my father was certain she was everything he ever wanted. He loved her so much, and he soon allowed
only
her to
thing
move
he
in
ever
with
had.
him when she became pregnant with me. Everything seemed perfect, and they were together for quite a while. I was around 5 when my mother left us. She had been seeing another man on the side, and abruptly broke it off with my father and married this other man. It must have been a breaking point for my father. The straw that broke the camel's back, as they would say. After everything else that he had already gone through, this was the
You got
breaking
that
point for him that
Italiano
drove him
mustache.
to what I'm certain is insanity. I didn't
It don't look bad
understand what
on
was
him though.
happening, as I was still pretty young, but the changes became apparent the older I got. I began to fear my father and his violent outbursts and unpredictable mood. I never knew what he might do next, or when he would melt down, and I lived in constant anxiety in that house. I met my best friend in elementary school when I was about 11. Her name is Julia, just like my mother's name. My father absolutely
I'm like, we
despises
can't be
her
friends.
for this
I'm
reason
sorry.
alone,
No, I'm
which is
kidding.
entirely unfair. She was never allowed in my apartment, as my father strictly forbid it. I always had to go to her house.
Probably because her
Not that I
name's
minded at
Julia.
all. It was like a mini vacation
No.
anytime I didn't have to be at home with my ticking time bomb of a father. Julia would ask me if I ever considered talking to someone about this, and maybe seeing if my dad could get some help. I
No,
explained to her
I
that
didn't.
he was so unpredictable that he might become enraged if I talked to somebody about it.
Yo,
I had legit fears that he would go off the deep end one day
yo,
and physically harm me, or
yo,
even kill me in one of his fits.
yo.
I was aware
Whoa,
that how
whoa. Peacock's got Harry Potter. We've got the school, the spells. Do you think I care? The brooms, booms. We've even got. Guess what? Skip ahead. Get me out of here. Get me back to my video.
That how I was living was unacceptable and mentally and emotionally abusive. But there was nothing I could see to do that wouldn't end in him coming after me. I just dealt with it throughout my childhood and early teens.
Cat. Nah,
I wouldn't say that I became depressed because of it.
Nah, but seriously,
but I definitely lacked a lot of self-esteem and confidence. I had
like, look at it looking like it's about to pounce on something.
Because I felt like I was
the lamp. That's what it is. Because you can tell that cat's leaning towards, and if you see my mouse, he looking at that lamp. There must be something inside of that lamp, bro.
Always on
it must
guard.
Be cursed with something. Because
I
he's
was
like
always in that fight or flight mode in my body,
but jump on
which
you.
did no favors for my
Either
health.
that, or he just likes the light.
Despite all of this,
see,
I love my father. Maybe it sounds like a messed up Stockholm syndrome, but he's still my dad. I didn't call the police on him or report him because I didn't want him to get into trouble. I wanted him to get better, but I don't think there was ever a chance that it was possible.
If you called the police, then
when I
maybe.
knew he was working late at his job, I decided to sneak Julia into my home. I wanted her to see my room for once, and it wasn't as if I was doing anything really bad. I just knew my dad was unfairly biased.
I never sneak anybody in my house.
And I thought she deserved to see where I lived.
Nope.
My living conditions weren't bad. It was just my father that was the issue.
Yep.
We sat in my room and talked for a while, playing music on our phones, and just generally being teenagers. My father came into the house, apparently home earlier than he had said he would be. I felt my stomach drop as he opened the door to my room, clearly seeing the fury in his eyes as he saw Julia in there. I knew I had crossed a line I hadn't wanted to, but I didn't expect him to become so enraged by this. He snatched our phones out of our hands without any words before slamming the door to my room closed. I heard a clicking sound from the outside, and I felt my stomach sink impossibly lower. My doorknob was installed with a lock on the other side, a choice my father had made, as he informed me I was never allowed to lock him out of my room if he wanted in. That also meant, however, he could lock me in at any time if he wanted to. I quickly...
That's dumb and not dumb at the same time. I see where he's coming from, but it's dumb because if someone was to break in, her room would be the worst place to hide. Like, if someone was to literally throw a brick in the window or they were trying to get in, I would suggest for her to go to her father's room or somewhere else because they will easily unlock that door and they will get in to get you.
I quickly got up from my bed and jiggled the knob, finding it locked. I heard my father slam the front door as he left, which nearly shook the whole house. We were both terrified at the situation we had found ourselves in. We were alone in this room, with no way out, no way to contact anyone for help, and completely alone. No matter how hard I turned the doorknob or rammed into the door, it was staying closed. We were both panicking at this point, unable to do anything. We took solace in each other's company, sleeping in the same bed.
How old are you?
We couldn't find our way out of that room
for
said, 2 days.
You know what? I think
2
she's
miserable days of the same room,
high school.
No escape, no food, no water, and only each other as company. I didn't know where my father was.
Where's her parents? Yeah, you already know that girl's parents suck. Cause if they have not sent out a poster or a message, something, her parents are pretty garbage. Because, I mean, you're telling me that you haven't wondered where your daughter is at yet? They didn't say a couple of hours. They said a couple of days.
And only each other as company. Room, no escape, no food, no water, and only each other as company. I didn't know where my father was, as he hadn't come home the entire time. I was only thankful for the attached water closet that I had connected to my room, so we at least had a toilet, but no shower. That door wasn't opening either, of course, or we would have escaped long before the 3rd day. On the 3rd day, Julia had begun messing with a door lock with a hairpin she had been using to keep her hair up. It took a couple of hours, but she managed to get the door
open now
consider
after doing
all
that
struggling. We were relieved to be able to leave that room and get some water that wasn't out of a sink tap, but there wasn't anything to eat.
I don't mind sink tap water, so I would have been good.
Or thrown out what little we had, just so we couldn't eat anything. We were
I'll drink some of that cold sink tap water.
Didn't know what to do. Too afraid to leave the apartment. My father could come home at any moment, and we had no way to get past him if he did. We debated for a long time about what we could do.
How about you leave the house for starters?
Outside the apartment complex. I panicked, thinking it might have been my father coming home as we feared. We ran back into my room, looking around for anything we could use to defend ourselves or hide. There
There was a
nothing,
knife
though,
literally in
and I
the
knew we
kitchen.
had to flee if we wanted any chance of getting out of
There was
this.
literally a knife in the
Julia
kitchen that
flung
you
open
could
the
have
window,
easily grabbed.
staring down at the ground below. We were on the second floor, and the thought of jumping was a daunting one. We both looked at each other and silently agreed it was the only way. I went first, hesitating and almost talking myself out of it before leaping out. Julia followed out soon after me, and we both hit the
How
ground
high
hard.
are y'all?
I was in searing pain. My
Do you
legs
think?
felt like they were on fire.
Yeah, I probably
I
broke them.
vaguely registered Julia screaming in pain as well, as everything was a little
Oh,
foggy.
yeah, you got me
I
messed
think I
up.
had
Talk
gone into
yourself out of
shock,
it. I wouldn't have
but I
thought
remember a
about
woman
it.
on a phone beside us.
Okay, I would have thought about it, but I wouldn't have done it.
I assumed she called an ambulance.
The common sense in
as
me would
one
have been
soon
like, hey, I
appeared
swear if you
and
jump
took
out
us
that
both
window.
to the hospital.
I'm like, trust
When
me,
I
man.
came to
I
in the
wasn't.
hospital,
Don't get
I
mad.
felt dizzy and numb. I was on a
You'd
morphine
be like,
pill,
good.
as I had broken
Glad we're
both
on the
of my
same,
legs, and I couldn't see Julia anywhere.
same thinking right
The
here.
police
I'm
soon
like, no
came into
problem.
my room, and I felt another spike of terror in my heart. They began questioning me, asking me why me and my friend had done what we did. They seemed to think we had been trying to do a suicide pact,
Whoa.
which I quickly explained was not the case at all. I didn't try to kill myself. I was trying to keep myself from being.
I love life, man. I would have been like, no. I would have looked at the officer. I'm like, I love my life. I want to live. I want to make it to where I'm 20. I want to have sex. I want to have kids. I want to be able to drive. I want to be able to own my own house. I want to be able to become rich and famous. No, I am not killing myself until I at least have all of those things down. Okay, I wouldn't have said the last part, what I just said, but I would have been like, I am not killing myself ever. If I'm gonna die, no, never.
Being killed. I knew I would have to tell them about my
Yeah,
father,
you just
but
tell
at
them.
this point, I knew it was the only choice I had. After I explained what had happened, they disappeared to go and speak to Julia as well. Apparently, she had also broken a leg, but I was just relieved we were both
Duh,
alive.
because you jumped out like a
It took a
stupid.
week before I was let out of the hospital, but in that time, my father had been arrested. I was devastated.
I would have been
feeling a
left that
terrible
house, so
amount
it
of
wouldn't have
guilt.
mattered if he
I
came
knew
back
it
or
was my
didn't.
fault that he was taken away. But
Came
he
back
had
or
done
not.
something horrible. He had become his own parents, doing terrible things to their own child.
Also, doesn't this say my psycho dad did
Let's talk
something?
about Grammarly. Anytime you
I thought
type
this
or
was
text,
about her getting
Grammarly
raped,
provides
but
quality suggestions to help.
especially because it literally shows
I was
underwear. I know y'all
terrified at
just
the thought of going
whatever.
into foster care.
See, my
or
psycho
being
dad did it with
homeless
me and my
alone
best friend.
now. Thankfully, my fears were unfounded.
He didn't do it with
as
you guys
Julia's
at all.
mother vouched to take me in. I had no living relatives nearby, and my mother had disappeared when she married that man. I know I shouldn't feel so bad for him, but I still feel like he was just a very sick man that didn't have
See,
any help.
look, that's what I'm talking about. My cousin got me and my mom pregnant. My psycho brother did it with me while I was sleeping. Hey, man, he got a little horny. Don't get mad at him. No, I'm playing. Let me stop. Too far. My stepdad did terrible things to my sister, and I
I'm
couldn't.
slowly learning to forgive myself and forgive him, and maybe one day I'll be able to see him again under better circumstances.
See, where in the story did it
My
say
father
my psycho
absolutely
dad?
despises her for this reason alone. That he would go off the deep end one day and physically.
But yes, I'm still in school hours. In fact, I'm about to have to go to school in 7, 8, 9, 3. Yeah, 3 minutes. Okay, I was right. 3 minutes. And that's the other video I just made. This is my last video for today. So one time. Yeah. See, look. OMG, please, Dad, stop. Also, why do they make their stuff look like this? But yeah, when you look into it, it looks way different. I guess that's making the thumbnails easier. I don't know. My dance instructor. See what I'm saying, bro? But look. Hey, I don't care. I don't want to hear about nobody getting raped anyway. What does it look like? I just pressed on it because I thought this would be interesting to watch. Next week, we're probably going to watch this. I'll save that to my watch later. See what happens when I don't have anything to watch? I just start doing random stuff. You know what? Please like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Hope you enjoy Road to 100.